Good morning from Joshua Tree, California, and happy fall equinox. I wanted to take some time on my morning stroll to share with you all about a little bit about the wheel of the year, how celebrating the holidays around the wheel of the year have been so impactful for me over the last decade in staying more rooted to the cycles of nature and the passing of time. I started this when I lived in the center of the city of San Diego when I was feeling very disconnected from nature. So you do not have to live in a very wild place like Joshua Tree, like I do, to follow these holidays. And they help us set intentions and root in how we want to experience the year season by season. And they've just been so impactful for me. So in this video, I wanted to share a bit about the energy of the fall equinox, a little highlight of the wheel of the year if you're like, what is she talking about, wheel of the year? And then some specific ways that you can use the energy around the fall equinox to support you in being able to acknowledge and celebrate this holiday. First, I thought we should start with what is the wheel of the year and what are those anchor points that you can start to root into and acknowledge to help you feel more grounded in your years. So the years don't just swim by, pass by, and then we feel really disconnected. Again, I started doing this when I lived in the center of the city of San Diego and I was feeling really disconnected from the natural world. And I found that rooting into these holidays and acknowledging them and taking even just small moments the actual day that they were happening and doing a little ceremony or a little bit of intentional work on those days really helped me anchor in as the year progressed. So the four are that you've probably heard of, I'm sure, is winter solstice, summer solstice, spring equinox, and the fall equinox. So those are the four. There are another four that cross and are the midway points between those two. So as an example, halfway between the spring equinox and summer solstice, there's a holiday called Beltane. And each of these holidays there is a different kind of energy to focus on as we look to what's happening in nature to help guide us on our path as we move through the year. We're going to start with just the main four, not get into the additional four that are the in between points. But fall equinox is directly across from the spring equinox in the calendar. On this day, I like to think about what was happening in my life back in the spring on spring equinox. What were some of the lessons I was learning? What was some of the work I was doing? What was happening in my life and my relationships with my body, with my health? And think about how that might correlate or how much I've grown or how much I've changed or what are the lessons that I've learned now that I'm standing on the halfway point on the other side of the calendar, the other side of the wheel at fall equinox. So that's one of the things to start just thinking about that you can, if you've never worked with the wheel of the year and you want to start with fall equinox today, which is amazing, I would start by thinking what was happening in my life back in the spring on spring equinox. Now that you've taken some time to root into today by thinking about what was happening in your life on spring equinox, the energy of fall equinox is very, very different than the spring equinox, which I'm sure you can just intuitively feel the difference between fall and spring. Regardless what hemisphere you're in, regardless what environment you're in, I'm here in the desert, if you're in a city, if you're in the mountains, by the coast, there's subtle changes that we can feel. And by tuning into these energies, we can really learn a lot of great lessons from our natural world around us. So in the fall, it is a slowing down from the big, bold, extroverted energy of summer, the go, 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 the being with people, being outside all day, working. There is a time of rest in the summer because you've done a lot of work in the spring, and then in the summer, you allow those plants to grow. You allow the energy to like just be warmed by the sun. And in the fall, there is a subtle quickening. It's that back to school energy, it's that energy of the harvest. It's time to kind of get to work before the really true slowdown of the winter, which is again a whole different energy. And so I just love this like pause at the end of summer on fall equinox to really think about what are some of the things that I want to get done before the end of the year, before the time of really going inward and slowing down in the winter season. So today is a perfect day to think about what are those things, what are those top priorities, those few things that you really want to set some intentions around, set a goal around, because there is an energy within the natural world that is helping us pick up some speed, you know, gather gather the nuts, harvest the vegetables, get ready for the winter. So think about that. It's a great day to do that. The other thing that is so cool about equinoxes is that the day is in perfect balance of light and dark. So there is just as many hours and minutes of daylight as there is of darkness. And this is a really great lesson for all of us to spend some time in and see where in our lives do we need to bring some balance. So this is always a journal question of mine that I take some time to reflect on and write about during the spring and the fall equinox is, what do I need to bring more into balance in my life? Is there a specific relationship? Is it something to do with my diet? Is there something to do with work and rest? That balance in my life often gets out of whack. But this is the time, because the overall cycle that's happening around us is in perfect balance right now, with just as much daylight as there is darkness. So a great ritual to do is to open up your windows, your doors, really notice when it's light and when it's dark. Look on your apps, like see when the sun is rising, when the sun is setting. Take in the sunrise and the sunset, look at it, see the hours of darkness, see the hours of daylight, and reflect on where you in your life could and want more balance. It's really, it's really the, I feel like the quintessential lesson of equinoxes. And then you layer on that fall energy of that like bit of quickening before the winter rest and what you need to do. And so marrying those two, of the quickening of those few last priorities that you want to get done before the winter, and thinking about what you want to and need to bring into balance, is a perfect ritual. Now, when I'm journaling about these tonight, what I will do is I'm going to make myself a beautiful cup of chamomile tea. I feel like the chamomile flower in that bright yellow is really representing of the light for me. And then I'll eat a few squares of really dark chocolate, which represents sort of that darker time, the nighttime, and the balance between the light and the dark. I'll light a candle, I'll drink that tea, I'll eat my chocolate, and I'll journal on these things. And just by taking this moment 4 times a year, or for me, I do it 8 times a year. We can talk about the other holidays throughout the wheel of the year as the year progresses. But when I take these intentional pauses, to me, it doesn't feel like my life is just rushing by and I'm like, oh my God, it's Thanksgiving again, it's Christmas again, it's New Year's again, it's my birthday again. It's like, it doesn't just like hit me, because I'm taking a pause. I'm acknowledging where we are as we're like spinning on this rock, and what season we're in, and what are the energies, what are the lessons I'm learning. And it just really helps me build some intention into my life. So I hope this video inspired you to maybe take some time with the fall equinox? If it does, I would love to know. Please leave me a comment down below. Let me know what you think, what you'll be doing, if you're going to do any of these things, or if you do something else to celebrate the fall equinox. I would love to know. But thinking about the actual energy of this moment in the year and journaling on your lessons about it, taking a pause, reflecting, it's super impactful. I hope that you like this video. Please subscribe if you're not already, and we will talk more about intentional living and following the wheel of the year. And I hope you have a really wonderful fall equinox. Bye, everyone.